Hello, it's Rachel. How are you? Well, Easter bank holiday went like that, didn't it? Nothing happened. Hopefully you had some bunnies at your house. I posted bunnies to my son and his girlfriend in Oxford, and another one to my son who's up in Farnham. I also posted one to my mum, and she's the one who's closest to us geographically, and hers didn't arrive in time for Easter, so that's a bit irksome, but never mind. I got pictures of the boys with their bunnies. I say boys, they're in their 20s. But I wanted to share something with you that I used to do when they were little. And it might be something you want to consider if your kids are getting bored with worksheets that are coming home from school. I don't know what schools are sending at the moment, but I can imagine it might be a bit boring and it might be a list of all sorts of crazy stuff. From what I'm seeing on Twitter, some people are feeling a bit overloaded with all the stuff that school is sending them. In reality, if you have a child who's a mathy thinker, you can encourage them to think more mathily at home. And this is something I used to say to my numeracy students when I taught numeracy in my previous life, which is actually quite a long time ago now, but I used to teach numeracy to adults. You can think mathily. We think in words, and we know this is how children learn to speak. We talk to them and they learn words. But we can do the same with maths. And by maths, I don't mean numbers so much as the ideas of maths and how numbers fit together and how numbers work and why numbers matter. And I also taught teaching assistants who worked in schools, and what I understood from them is that quite often children learn things in school but don't know what they mean. They can do it, but they don't know why. And to me, the reason of maths is why. Well, why does that work? Why does it matter? What is it? Why does that make that? And one thing you can play with at home, which is really easy, is your till receipts. This is a short one because we're doing quite odd shopping at the moment. This is one from what we call Big Tesco. I don't know if you call it Big Tesco, but anyway, this is Big Tesco. We go there for cat litter. We also bought some Easter eggs and some other bits and bobs that we can't find locally. So the thing to do with a till receipt, which is Mathily, is an easy one. This is a basic. What's the most expensive thing we bought? And what's the cheapest thing we bought? Easy peasy. So you can have a look and think, cheapest thing, find it. Expensive thing, find it. This is useful for children as well because they can understand that cheese is really expensive and just cutting off slices of it and leaving it everywhere, it's not cool because it's much, much, much more expensive than other things. So another thing you can do with the till receipt, if your children are more mathy thinkers themselves, is put the frozen stuff in the freezer, but everything else on the list, line it up in order of price. That's going to mean a lot of looking at numbers, a lot of looking at things, a lot of looking at numbers, rearranging. What are the pennies? What are the pounds? This is a really useful thing. This is like a little data set, and you can play with data till the cows come home. So this is an interesting thing to do. You can track it from week to week and see whether the prices are going up or down, see whether you bought the same things or different things. Your children can start to understand what are expensive foods and what are cheap foods, and maybe start planning some menus as well, and using online shopping tools to see whether you can keep within a budget. So this is a really good starting point for thinking about what money actually is, and also looking at decimal points, looking at multiples, discounts. This one had multi-buy savings on it, so there was money taken off at the bottom. So this is just a tip for you to try if your kids are getting bored of maths worksheets and you might think that they're not really getting some things. Leave the worksheets to one side. You really seriously can tell teachers that your children will not be doing X, Y and Z. I know that sounds crazy. But you can say to them, look, my child will do one of these maths things a day, and then we're going to be doing some thinking mathily. It's your time, they're your children, You think about what's best for them, and you can bring all these ideas in. I'm going to give you some other tips later on in the week for thinking mathily, but it's something that once you start thinking about it, numbers are everywhere. They're in your home. It's how you live. It's what you do. So it's a really interesting thing to explore. So I hope you're all still well and healthy, and I'll speak to you again soon. But in the meantime, think about what being mathily is. Think mathily, okay? Bye.